up, everybody? It's the conductor of the train, your boy, DJ SJ614, and in the studio we have
RJ
and
Meah Denee.
Yes, and you tuning in to the New York Dose right here inside B.
So we're going to get into the last section of our show. This is the subway. The segments in this section correlate with a few of the train lines we have in the New York City MTA subway system. Finally, addressing the dose of the day. First, we try to recall how things involving the topic were handled in the past.
Okay.
Next, we analyze how it's going down today. Then we ride the rest of the subway before debriefing at last and figuring out possible solutions on how to make things better, either in our personal lives or within the world. So we're gonna get into our first segment. The dose of the day is failed roommates and mended relationships. So our first segment is recall. And I just want to get into the past of like the whole roommate thing. Can we recall at what stage in life it was actually even like appropriate to have a roommate, and like when do you think people stopped having them, and maybe like what was the purpose of a roommate back then?
I mean, I want to say I want to take it back to when I first had a roommate, like,
Okay.
and it was when I would go to camp, you know, like at a young age, like, you know, sharing the bunk beds and in the cabins and
Right.
stuff like that was my first like roommate experience, and
Okay.
it wasn't the best one. The girl peed a lot on her bed in camp, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
You know, we were 10 though. We were 10.
You were 10. You were 10. You were 10. Yeah.
No, that's too old.
That's too
to
old.
make pee.
That's right. You're gonna say that.
Sometimes, you know, some people can't help it. It takes a little longer. For
You know,
Maybe she's a little nervous. She's away from home.
Yes.
There's also, I forgot what that thing. Oh, MS. I have a 20-year-old right now that wets to bed every night like clockwork. But it's
do they
a
wear a
condition.
diaper?
I have petitioned to put him in a diaper.
Okay, good, because that's fucking ridiculous.
They haven't listened to me though.
Right? That's crazy.
Yeah. But it's because the person has a condition.
Okay, well that means you should justify
Take
that
precautions to like
Yeah,
take care of the bed.
Surprise! We need new sheets. No, that's
Yeah,
stupid.
yo, every day.
He doesn't have a mat or anything?
No, I don't think there's nothing special.
plastic?
That's what I'm saying. My grandma got the plastic.
I feel like everybody's
Right
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sure they're hearing about me.
I
peeing on
understand.
themselves. I had a cousin who peed on himself while we were on the slide together, and his pee went down the slide and got on me.
Oh no.
What
And
part
I'm
of
only
your
like
body?
6 months older than him, but
What part of your body?
You're nasty.
like it got on my pants, and then
No,
his
because
mom
it's
was like,
different if it got on your face than on your leg.
I'm not into that.
Yeah.
But it got on my pants, and then his mom was like, "Oh, you gotta take off those pants." I was like, "I'm embarrassed, and this is not my fault, so I will not be taking off those pants."
I will not be taking
I was
off
like
my
all of 3, and I was like, I don't want to go to the park with you anymore.
all this lip at 3, all this mouth.
You can imagine.
That's why you like this now. What about you, Meah?
Yeah, my first roommate experience was basketball camp when I was like, I don't know, 11 or something. But it wasn't
A
like,
little basketball star.
right, that was the only basketball camp though. But it wasn't anything bad. But I think the whole like reason for roommates is like, in my opinion, survival. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's the only reason people have roommates, especially in New York.
Yeah.
Nah, but I think when we were younger, it's like to just like, it was exciting, like picking roommates, like it was like a whole like thing that we did, like we put 3 people and we didn't have like the final say, but like we pulled and created like a fun thing.
Right.
But of course now it's more like survival mode, man.
Yeah, I feel like back in the day, like after college, I feel like people didn't really have roommates. I feel like
They're
the whole
roommates
like
with their family.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of like roommates as like this actual extra entity in your house so that you can be able to afford it, like just started happening.
I don't think so. I think in New York, at least, people have often needed roommates, especially like thinking about immigrants, like people coming to this country without all those resources, but being adults already, like they would start off as roomers.
Mates.
Like the tenement house.
Roomers or room. I'm not spelling it like rumors, but whatever. So fast forward to
R-O-M-E,
right.
yes.
Exactly. So I think that roommates have been a financial partnership for a long time, and I think like in this moment is when the millennial generation is kind of hitting that experience, like needing, at least in New York, of needing roommates to live in New York.
Right. But do you remember, like, can you recall anybody in your family that's like older now that like had, like, you knew they had a roommate growing up?
Not my mom.
Not my mom.
And I always find that because she moved out when she was 18.
Right, yeah.
And then had 2 kids by 23 and like had the apartment that we have now, like in the Heights.
It's different. Like my parents grew up in like the houses that their families owned.
Mm-hmm.
So like even I like grew up in a place where my family owned, but without having that, it's different.
Yeah.
But I know like my grandma, she definitely got a husband real quick. It was like, okay, baby daddy, we about to live together.
So
it was just different.
Do we think that like the version of like those kind of roommates back then, like the idea was kind of finding like a spousal partner in order to get that security?
I think that gender norms have changed to like not force women to get married just to have roommates, you know, or that same financial support.
Right.
But I do think that roommates have existed in some way for a long time.
Okay. Word. All right, we're gonna move on to the next segment. This is Analyze. This is where we jump into our today, and we peep out just a couple of questions on the topic. So if we can just think about now, when is the appropriate time frame now for a roommate, we would say?
If you want that apartment with the fucking train from the same block.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, definitely through collegiate years, and then definitely like in post-school life.
I just feel like who fucking knows what's the appropriate time like to get a roommate. Like,
Do you think it's cool to have a roommate when you're like 50?
I feel like who cares?
I think if it's necessary.
Like,
all right, so we got 2 years, and then we got a over here. What was that about?
So that
I said
I'm
who
working
cares
on.
if it's cool or not.
I'm working on him, but that's my judgy side. If you're 50, then I expect you to have a little bit more financial security. But as far as like the rule of when to have roommates, when not to have roommates, I think when you're a couple, it's weird to have roommates. Like if you're rooming and it's like, oh yeah, my roommate is this guy and his wife, like that's fucked up. Y'all should have your own space. But I think while it can stay comfortable, you know, and your partner has their own place to live, I think sure, room as long as you need to.
What if you're like looking for an apartment space and there's a room in this 70-year-old's apartment? Like you don't think that's weird that he's looking for a roommate? Like, you will fuck with that?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, but
why not? Why not?
Because it's different.
How is it different?
It's different.
So when do we think is the time then? Like when does it get weird like that? Like would you do it with a 50-year-old?
This question is crazy. Why do it with a 50-year-old?
But I think it just depends because like if it's a nice ass apartment and I have the downstairs and you upstairs chilling, like I might consider it. Like we could make something work.
Okay.
Can this 50-year-old cook? You know, like
I'm done.
There's certain benefits to it.
No, I interviewed actually many people before I don't want to say settled on. Before
you're a young and hung roommate.
16.
Jesus, this is why I don't like talking on. Before I was introduced to my roommate, acquainted with him.
You got new roommates? Or
my roommate's been living with me for about 3 years now.
You're in the same place, okay.
But before him, I had 3 different roommates. One of whom is in this room right now.
The best one, bitches.
The shortest lived one. But
How
was that? Wait, real quick, just sum up.
Well, I mean, we're probably gonna get.
Let's get to that later.
Yeah.
But all I will say I think that it's important successfully to have a roommate. It's important to be compatible.
Yes.
You know, you need someone who you can communicate with about however the finances get split.
But sometimes you don't have time to find compatible.
No, but I think that like as relative, I guess, success story of having someone still stay in 3 years. Like, we're upfront. Like, this is what the rent is.
Right.
You need to have it. He has it. We're cool. You know, this is what
Right.
the bills are. Let's split it or figure however it works. But I think having just like that upfront communication about finances
What?
helps me to be comfortable. And then, you know, there's also like a social aspect to it, which is hard. Like, okay, you don't want me to invite over that person, I shit. But whatever. Oh, I'm not going to talk about all this stuff. How did we get here?
Yeah, but wait, what was the question?
Well, I don't know what you guys were going back to, but I was going to move on to, can you guys tell me about the best roommate experience that you've ever had?
Excuse me, that's my question.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm
It literally says Addie.
so sorry. But here we are.
Yeah, what is the best roommate experience?
I can start this off.
Yeah.
It was, well, you know what? I was just on that tour for like 2.5 months.
Yes, how was she? She tolerated you?
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it was great because we
Did you
had,
sleep in the same apartment?
yeah, and we literally had this same, like, I don't know, like, we had all these unspoken rules that just, like, worked for one another. Like, she never, like, I always showered in the morning, she did it at night, she never got in my way, when it was time to talk, it was time to talk. As soon as she saw the headphones on, she knew the deal. Like, I felt like I was very much by myself, you know what I mean? Like, because I always had my own little bubble that I did not have to worry about her barging in on or anything like that. So that would be mine. Other than that, I was gonna say myself, but because I did have a bunk bed when I was younger, but it was me, myself, and I.
All three of you on the
Yes,
bunk
all
bed.
Three of us on the
All
bunk
the
bed.
three Gemini.
No, I think that you brought up good points as far as space, having space, schedules being compatible.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully, my roommate is more of a night owl, and I'm like out the house by 8:15.
Right.
So because of that, I don't have to generally worry about him blocking the shower when I need to get ready.
Right.
Which would get on my nerves. But also space, like, I think part of why we work is a lot of the time I can't tell if he's home or not.
I love
Yes.
it. Still be talking shit. What about you, Meah? Your best roommate experience?
My best roommate, I haven't had many roommates, but the best one was in college, senior year. And that was like one of those living spaces where you all have your own, you know, shower, you're good.
Yeah.
You know, she was a weed head. She always brought the weed. I always
Yeah,
did
yes.
afterwards. So it worked out,
I
you
love
know.
it.
Yeah, we were good together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same for me. I think in college it was my best because it was, you know, my girls that are my girls now.
Aww.
We were all like living in like a suite together at some point, and it was just like always like fun. It was just like always a new like, you know,
Experience.
exactly. So it was just cool. That was cool.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yes, and ooh, I want to know what's your definition of a perfect roommate?
Myself. Like, honestly.
Honestly.
No, you gotta give me some characteristics. Give me some, like, what are good quality roommate, number one rule?
Clean.
What I would say is the first thing for me in looking for a roommate is someone who's financially secure. I really, when the rent is due, when the bills are due, I don't want excuses. I want checks.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Or cash, you know. So that is really the foundation for me of a strong
Right.
roommate. The next thing is communication. Like, we need to be able to talk through like what our expectations are, what, you know, if we're frustrated with something, talking through that as
Yeah.
well.
Like if you
Like,
putting up the heat and
yeah, like,
it's
okay,
not-
the heat isn't working. Like, my parents own our building, so like I kind of end up as like the liaison, but or the person who goes up on the roof and like fucking pours tar in the holes so that it stops leaking on him and shit. But no, definitely communication, financial security. I think having something in common is useful too. Like, me and my roommate are similar in age. We're both gay, so like we can talk about a lot of things where I imagine if I had like a 50-year-old church lady, it would not be as comfortable for me in my own house. So some kind of way for you to feel comfortable in your house is necessary, because I mean, maybe depending on how you work full time or part time, like you spend a lot of time at home,
right?
And that time
Or
needs
just
to
like
be
the energy,
like recharging your batteries.
even if you don't spend a lot of time at home, like,
exactly.
you feel that energy once you get in. So
when you're home, you need to kind of just be like peaceful. Like that's so important to me, and I can't have someone that disturbs my peace.
Yeah, that's real. My first thing is, of course, like being able to pay the bills, but like they have to be clean. Like I could deal with anything. Like, cause I'm an only child, so I'm used to just like being in my room. I don't even need to talk to you. We don't have to communicate.
Yeah.
But you need to clean after yourself.
You gotta say that. It needs to look like I'm just here by myself.
Exactly.
Which means no mess.
I'll be real. I'm clean, but I'm not neat. If that makes sense.
Same here.
I don't hang up my coat every time I walk in the house or do the dishes all the time, but I make sure like my food is scraped off my dishes. I make sure that mice and roaches are not going to be something.
You said my food is scraped off. No. I learned from living, even though I grew up a lot like doing the dishes like forcefully by my parents, but I used to hate it. But like I appreciate it now because now like living on my own or like with roommates, like I just wash my dish right after, and it's just like it's the best feeling ever. Like
I'll do that. But if I have people over, I'm not gonna be like, oh, let me wash all these people's whatever. My roommate thankfully is not a roommate who cares like if there's a sink or if there's dishes in the sink.
Right.
But
you know
that works
just
for me.
It right there.
Like, I know I can't live with everyone, so I'm pretty cool right now.
Yeah, my definition of a perfect roommate is just I hold the bathroom to be a very sacred and holy space that is like just a sanctuary, And
you?
Yeah, that's like my thing. That's my jam.
You bring like your whole life in there. I
That's
saw
right.
you one time.
I witnessed you. Yeah, I'm like the forest creature.
I was like, whoa, you really take it serious in there, huh?
Yeah, it's a whole ritual. And if that bathroom is not clean, then we are going to have a problem.
Yeah, clean bathrooms are everything. Yeah.
Which is why, no shade, which is why I was like a little fearful. When I went on that tour and I knew that I was going to be sharing the room with a girl, because sometimes it's just like,
excuse me,
it's no shade, but it's like they hair everywhere and like, you know what I mean?
Are dirty.
Yeah, and it's no shade to y'all, but like I like one little strand like really just like it bothers the shit out of me. Like I'm just like you couldn't pick that up. You couldn't wipe that out of the sink.
I'm feeling literally triggered because.
Oh yeah, you had
No, not only because I've had a woman roommate before, but you have a lot of female friends, Derek, and you bring them to the house.
Excuse me. First of all, one of them was playing the role of your housekeeper, so I don't. Miss Deanna brought her into that house.
Okay, but you have had girls. Oh, I'm coming over to change my weave. Oh my!
Are you talking about Monet?
I told myself I would not name names, but because Monet likely will listen to this, I'm just gonna clear the air. I'm not talking about Monet.
Then who are you talking about? Be very specific.
He's trying to put me on the spot, and it's not Monet. It is someone who is very into bars.
What?
I can't stand you. Oh gosh, yes. Well, there are many.
And there's other things about some of your women friends that just really threw me off. Like they would just take certain, sanitary products and put them on the bookshelf, and I'm like,
oh yes, we've had instances of ladies leaving just
not used
periods. Yes.
Oh,
I'm like, at what point did you say I'm going to remove this sanitary object and put it on a bookshelf? Like, we're gonna read it.
Was it covered or anything?
It was just.
It was used.
But was it covered?
No.
What does it matter if it was covered?
I think it might have also been homemade. Like it wasn't. But anyway,
sometimes if you could cover it.
Me and Derek don't live together anymore, but Derek's women friends were shocking. I was just like, what in the earth is happening?
It is unfortunate that all women have not been raised to dispose of their sanitary things like the same way.
With
Correct.
train.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but that's all for. I mean, it ain't even that for me.
she's
For
on
me,
the
it's just-
now,
it's
so
just,
you know,
yeah.
shout out to CC.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then,
Not our CC, it's a different CC.
Oh my god! Yeah, OB.
But yeah, that's my thing.
Alright, I'm gonna stop shading you with your new principles and shit. I'm happy you're delivered now.
That's right.
Yes, I have a couple more other questions.
Please.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a physical altercation with a roommate?
You know, there was that one time that I almost had to put the smacks down on Paul one time.
Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. RJ was there for that night.
I was there for that night, but I will also
He was your
say
roommate?
that
Yeah.
your bathroom was not being treated like a sanctum.
You're right.
So if I was Paul,
So
I would have
what
been quite
happened?
upset.
But I mean, but he wasn't even mad about that. He was
He
mad
wasn't.
over foolishness. And it was crazy because it was literally like walking to your death, because it was like me and like all of my best friends in the living room, and he dead ass like got crazy. Like he like hopped on the
He
table
was
crazy.
What?
he was like white boy mad.
Yeah, like
This is horse shit.
yeah. No, and I dead ass. You would have thought like it was the classiest moment of my life, because while he was going off,
He had his colored contacts.
I had my contacts in. You know, I'm a different person with my contacts. I had my contacts in, and I was sitting on the. Yes, they were. Yes. And I was sitting on the couch with my leg crossed and my arms folded, and I was looking at him like, I want you to do something. I was just looking at him like, while he was going off.
Very like New York at the reunion show, like, oh really, Paul?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I kept saying, I was like, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. Like,
I did
and
not
everybody
like
was
it.
just around ready to pounce. Like,
Yeah, like-
Judea was on the edge of her seat. Fucking brother, Deji, like everybody was just ready to just
Dominic.
eat. Dominic, and you know,
Myself.
Dominic's very violent.
Yeah.
RJ, yes, everybody was just ready. Like, I'll do something.
Yeah, but you didn't get to.
No, we didn't. I mean, there were some things that happened in the days to follow. Like, it's a long story.
Paul,
but-
in hindsight, I could see why Paul was upset with Derek.
Oh.
Derek was out of bed.
I was crazy.
What did he do?
Oh, I was absolute. But you know why? It's because of I knew what I was doing. Well, I mean, like for one, I told myself I was only gonna be there for a year, and for two, I had the smallest room. So I was like, I'm gonna go fucking ape shit in here. I was like, I'm going to make the best of all of this, and I literally had a party every fucking weekend.
Derek's room was, when he says the smallest, it was like a twin size bed and a dresser.
Damn.
Like,
And
yeah.
like, and everything else you walk sideways. Like,
Yes, like it was crazy. So I was like, turn the fuck up, 24/7.
Yes.
Like I was always blacking out. Like it was just.
me too. I was also.
Yes. It was quite a moment in life. You would have had a blast. Like the parties were
We
crazy.
had a rooftop.
Yeah,
The living room was lit.
literally.
I mean, if you ever ventured outside of the room, the bedroom.
but my room was like a little portal. It was like a little like Narnia. Like
Everyone went to go smoke
many
there.
orgy went down in that room.
Ooh.
Little Daniel. And Jada's like, oh my god.
Like, we are just what?
It was a
Wow.
den.
Yeah, I don't really know about that part. But
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
All right, have you guys, RJ or Meah, had
Mine is
altercation?
nowhere as exciting. So the roommate that was like my best roommate,
Mhm.
before we became roommates, we almost fought.
Oh, damn.
So we was at the club, right?
Oh, that was a club.
Yes.
And we were like packed, like trying to get into this club. And you know, I hate people that try to skip. So she came through trying to skip.
You're that person? Like, come on, just let me
Nah,
skip.
I'm that person too. I'll tell you.
I'd be like, it's me, it's just only me.
Nah.
Nah, we was like concert packed, like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And she gonna try to squeeze through. So I was like, nah, I ain't moving. You better go around that way, go around the other way. And then I had my whole crew. I had like 6 girls with us lined up on the wall, like we was
Ready.
we was ready.
The lionesses.
And I'm telling them, don't move. Don't you move either. Like she's not getting through.
That's right.
So yeah, we almost fought that night, and then like a year later, we ended up being roommates.
That's fucking crazy. That's
It'd
lit.
be like that.
RJ, RJ?
So is this a bad roommate tale? What was it?
A time that you got into an altercation.
Physical.
Yeah, have you ever had a physical altercation?
No.
Yeah, you gotta answer with confidence. Physical? Did I slap her? No.
No, I've had to like use like my highest level of shade.
Very hurtful words.
Once or twice. And I'm actually not talking about who you think I'm talking about.
I know.
There was this one guy who moved in with me without my consent or permission. Like I said, I lived in my parents' building, and I came home one day, and this guy who I had met
online
in extracurricular activities was just like in my basement drinking with my dad, and I'm like, y'all don't know each other. Like,
shit.
I know many things, but I know y'all don't know each other. But he was like a journalism major or some shit, so he knew how to like schmooze with people. And my dad is fake as fuck.
Some Andrew Cunanan and shit.
My dad was like chatting him up, and they ended up like in the basement, like taking shots.
That's
and shit.
really scary,
So,
RJ. What?
No, so then like after that night, like,
that is some fucking. What's
he
that
basically
Versace?
So I live on the second floor. So after that, he just like basically walked on up and was like trying to live with me, and I was just like, wait, like this isn't cool. Like we've met like once, but we're not friends.
What did you say to your pops though? Like, how did he get in the crib?
I just have a drink with him, like.
I'm unclear, but me and my dad don't even get along. But if you pull out some liquor, we'll be best friends, and whatever. So that was just like a very strange week for me, where this crazy man was like trying to live in my apartment.
Sorry.
And I didn't fight him, but
You blocked him?
No, I just sufficiently shaded him. He ended up moving to the Midwest with his parents.
You need to call the cops and get a restraining order.
Yeah, no, we're good enough now. Like we had a fun time, but you're not moving in with me after that. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's wild. No, ma'am.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
No.
Okay, craziest thing a roommate did to you or you did to a roommate?
Oh, well, I mean, I did not do it directly, but I think the craziest thing that would have ever happened to my roommates was that one time when somebody that we know shitted all over the place, all over the walls, everywhere but the toilet. It was after one of those blackout nights, so I fortunately blacked out hours before that happened, but my three best friends, RJ, Tom, Nick, and Judea.
Yeah, y'all already know. What? I'm about to kill it, though. Fuck out of here. Let's go. What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good?